Alright, welcome back to making Pokemon Evolution Line color schemes match. Except I'm calling it something a lot different, when technically I guess that's kind of not right of me to call it what I'm calling it, but as I've said every single time, it sounds so much better. You would not click on a video if it said, making Pokemon Evolution Lines color schemes match. It's probably like beyond the character limit, no one's gonna read that. So I'm sorry. There have been some mistakes with this series. Let's just move on. I'm gonna stop yapping now. Anyway, this is part 5, the Unova region. There's a lot of stuff to cover in this one, but if you haven't seen the other videos, I'm using Photoshop, and as I said, I'm taking evolution lines, and I'm making the final evolutions of the lines have the colors of the first evolutions, and vice versa. So to show you what I mean, we're starting off with Snivy. I excluded Servine just because it didn't really change much when I gave it Snivy's colors. Superior didn't really change too much either, I just included it because, you know, it's the first starter kind of in the decks, at least for the final stage. Snivy didn't really change much either, aside from just getting a more teal head, because Superior, it's kind of like a peeled banana. Except instead of a yellow peel and a pale inside, it's a green peel and a pale green inside. That was a terrible allegory. I'm sorry. Yeah, not much really changed here, so I'm just going to move on. I just included them because they're the first evolution line in the decks. More importantly is the Oshawott line. Dewott and Samurott, I personally think they came out really cool. I think it's just generally accepted that any shiny that is primarily white or primarily black in color is just automatically epic. So if these were their actual shinies, because their actual shinies suck, these would look really cool. Especially Samurott looks pretty good if that. Oshawott is decent. I guess it's kind of better if the white, and as I've mentioned before, that's kind of what the point of this series is. It's to figure out, alright, which member of this evolution line, with their color scheme applied to everyone, would look the best. So in this case, my conclusion is that Oshawott's color scheme on everyone would look the best. Oshawott with its regular colors, and then Dewott and Samurott with Oshawott's colors. And also, I exclude the middle evolutions just because, you know, they're the middle evolution, so who cares about them? I only apply the final evolution and the first evolution, or I guess the base stage. Here's Patra and Watchog, sort of just a little basic color flip. Patra becomes more red, Watchog becomes more brown. Pretty much the same. I mean, they're still good, at least if you ask me. Like, this color scheme works with them. I can't really say which one I like more, the regular colors or these colors, but yeah, pretty simple. Then we've got Pidove and Unfezant. And I did this so that it would be like, what if there was a female and male Pidove as well? So the male one would be that one of the green chest, and the female one would be the one of the brown chest, because that's what the Unfezant gender varieties have. And then for the Unfezants, their bodies became mostly gray, because that's what Pidove's is. And then since Pidove has that little pink nub over its nose, their little crests became pink. And I actually took some creative liberty with the female one, because technically the female one doesn't have a colored crest, but it does have like that sort of heart-shaped symbol around its face. And I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but considering it's the female one, I decided to make that pink, taking that from Pidove's pink nubs, so that it kind of resembles a heart, because it is the female one, so that kind of makes sense. And the male one, honestly, doesn't look too bad either. It makes them look more white, which again, white shinies and black shinies are epic, so yeah. Then we've got the Boldore line. I'm not sure why I used Boulder. Roggenrola line, whatever you call it. Roggenrola, it's kind of cool, I guess. It honestly kind of looks like a radioactive rock or something. Boulder and Gigalith, they're a little more simple than usual, but at the same time, it definitely displays the rock type pretty well with these colors. Moving on, we've got Excadrill and Drillbur. Drillbur with Excadrill's colors, I definitely think it's a lot better. It kind of makes it look like it's all slashed up, which I guess isn't really what Pokemon should be conveying, because it's kid-friendly, but then again, that's literally what Excadrill is, so this works. And Excadrill with the blue, I like it with the red better, but I could see this working as a shiny. I mean, its shiny isn't too bad to begin with, but this is decent as well. Then we've got Timber and Conkeldurr. I left Girder out because it didn't change much when I gave it Timber's colors. Timber, with Conkeldurr's colors, the main change is obviously just the eyes and also the log it's holding. And now you could say, well, why did you make the log gray? Because technically it's holding a different thing. And yeah, I know, I did that intentionally, because normally it's holding a brown log, but then Conkeldurr holds gray rocks. But now like this, you could think of it as either this gray log now is either like a birch log, or it's just a like petrified wood, or I don't know, just a gray slab of rock with lines in it or something, like a stone pillar. And then for Conkeldurr, I actually think that looks pretty cool. And then the its gray rocks now brown with the wood color makes it look more like sandstone, which is pretty cool, honestly. It's kind of like a more deserty version of Conkeldurr, so I think these look pretty good. Then we've got Seismitoad. I left the rest of its line out only because this was the only one that really came out cool. And again, black shinies, white shinies, epic. This one I definitely think looks really cool. I would not mind if this is what shiny Seismitoad or just regular Seismitoad looks like. I honestly like this more, especially with the inverted eyes. It makes it look a lot more menacing. Then we've got Leavanny with Sawaddle's colors. Again, I left Sawaddle out because it didn't really change much, but Leavanny did, and this doesn't change too much, but at the same time, what it does change, I think, works pretty well. Then we've got Cottony and Whimsicott. Whimsicott looks a little weird, and I know I've been saying white shinies are good, but in this case, I feel like if the white was the wool color, it would be better. When it's like the body color, it looks unfinished, I guess you could say, but Cottony isn't too bad. Then we've got the whole Venipede line. I don't think Venipede changes too much, but Whirlipede and Scolipede kind of do, and I can't really say it's for the better or for the worse because it isn't too much of a change, but it is still pretty cool for this, because being more red than purple, I think that's a more, like, aggressive color, because it's blood color and stuff, especially Whirlipede. I think it kind of sports it kind of well. Then we've got Petalil and Lilligant. Petalil's pretty simple. Lilligant's pretty decent as well. I could see that being its shiny, because it's slightly more, like, citrusy color, I guess you could say. Petalil's not too much to know. I did make its middle petal yellow to go with Lilligant's regular flower color to represent that, but aside from that, not much changes here. Then we've got Sandile and Crocodile. Crocodile with the brown that its pre-evolutions have. I can see why they made it red, because it looks a lot cooler when it's red. Which also applies to Sandile here, because it looks a lot cooler when it's red as well, at least if you ask me. And now that I think about it, I left Crocorock out on accident, so oops. Just pretend he's in there and also red. Then we've got Scrafty with Scraggy's colors. Kind of looks like a rooster. That's all I've got to say. I'm not going to say anything else. I don't know. You tell me. Moving on, we've got Cofagrigus with Yamask's colors. Now, Cofagrigus has some more complex colors than Yamask, at least in the metallic part of it, because Yamask is just a golden mask. So applying that pure gold to Cofagrigus, you could argue that this is either too bland or cool. And I'm going to argue that it's cool because now it's like a solid gold variant, which would be pretty cool as the shiny. I think golden things are pretty cool. Which adds to the list. Golden shinies, white shinies, black shinies, those are like the ultimate trio of shiny colors. Then we've got Swanna and Ducklet. I personally think Ducklet looks better with the white and the blue. It makes it look more unique, I guess you could say, as opposed to just two different shades of blue. It looks a little too natural like that, if you ask me. Like this, it's almost kind of like the white upper part is a cloud and the bottom blue part is like rain coming down. That's just me creatively speaking. Swanna all blue, though. I'm not the biggest fan of it, so in this case, I guess you could say Ducklet and Swanna, both with Swanna's colors, would be better. Then we have the Sawsbuck and Deerling, that whole thing. Obviously, there's 4 forms of each, so I gave all of the different Sawsbuck's forms their respective Deerling colors, and vice versa. And I honestly like the way this came out. I would not mind if this is what it actually looked like, because this actually makes the different Sawsbuck's forms more unique and differentiable from each other, because now not only do their leaves and like head pieces have unique colors, but their bodies also do, that carry the theme of the seasons that they're based on. So the spring one has the pink, autumn's orange, winter's brown, and summer's green. And then, in contrary to that, we've got the deerlings with the sawsbuck's colors, because for some reason all the deerlings have unique colors for their bodies, but then all the sawsbucks are just brown regardless of season. So now all the deerlings are, except their flowers are now different colors instead of just all being yellow. It's kind of weird how this evolution line works. It's like it switches. It goes from unique body color, but the same flower or like plant color to the opposite. But at the same time, this doesn't look too bad because it still carries the, the different season vibes. You got the orange flower, the green flower, the white flower, and the pink flower. Moving on, we've got Tynamo and Electros. Dynamo's decent, and Electros, obviously, white, shiny, epic. It also has some gold, or I guess you would call it yellow, but gold, shiny, also epic. So Electros looks really cool here. And here's Electric. It's in a different picture for some reason. I don't know why I did that. But again, really cool, at least if you ask me. Then we've got BHM and LGM. And this is just kind of my opinion, but I honestly think the brown with like BHM's colors, it looks more like an animal or a living thing. And then LGM's colors look more like an extraterrestrial or like robotic thing. And I think that's mainly just because that teal color is more like metallic than brown is, and the eyes being white instead of black just looks a lot less sentient. But these colors on each of them honestly look pretty cool. I'm not really sure which one I think would look better if it was both of them being brown or both of them being blue, but I don't know. Then we've got Mienfoo and Minxiao. They both look cool, but I definitely like Mienfoo with the purple and white. So in this case, it would be if they were both purple and white, it would look better. If that was a shiny, that would actually be pretty cool. Which it kind of is, because its regular shiny is white and blue, and purple's not too far off from blue. Anyway, then we've got the Litwick line. Chandelure and Lampent, I just changed them so that they kind of have like a whitish hue as part of them. It's not too bad, but it's not the best I've seen in this series so far. Litwick is pretty cool, though, if the black wax instead of white wax. I don't know how I slipped up there. Then we've got the Axew line. Axew definitely looks a lot more like aggressive and evil, which I guess doesn't really fit it too well since it is like the cute one of its line, but at the same time the colors do look pretty cool. And the Fracture and Haxorus are alright. I think Haxorus definitely sports the colors better, but can't really say too much else about them. And that wraps this one up. Next week we've got Kalos, which I'm sure will be a pretty short video. Or actually maybe it won't, because there's not many cross-gen Evos, so it'll still have a lot of content in it, I think. Probably. But for now, this was the Unova region in whatever this series even is. I feel uncomfortable naming it anything specific, but I've explained in the other videos how this is all unfolding. I don't know, guys. I'm just gonna end it here. If you like this, like, comment, subscribe, or something, and thanks for watching.